Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of families suffer every year.
Identity theft, also known as identity fraud, is a crime in which an imposter obtains key pieces of personally identifiable information, such as social security or driver's license numbers, in order to impersonate someone else. The information can be used to obtain credit, merchandise, and services in the name of the victim, or to provide the thief with false credentials. In addition to running up debt, in rare cases, the imposter might provide false identification to police, creating a criminal record or leaving outstanding arrest warrants for the person whose identity has been stolen. Long story short, identity theft is something that you never want to happen to you. It can get you into a lot of trouble. How? Well, I'm Mike with List 25, and the following list of 25 scariest types of identity theft will give you an idea or two.
25.
Identity theft doesn't stop after death. A thief may use a deceased person's details to drain accounts, set up new loans, steal government benefits, and more. This type of identity theft typically impacts family members and friends of the deceased who are meant to receive an inheritance.
24.
If a thief uses your information for employment purposes, there could be devastating effects on your employment history and your name. Since incorrect employment is reported to the Social Security Administration, you may face tax audits, lost tax refunds, and errors on permanent government records. And if you apply for a new job, your employment history may be incorrect and misleading. These effects could take years to resolve.
23.
Currently, the greatest online threat is identity theft. Within the IoT, Internet of Things, that basically any device with an on-off switch that can connect to the internet, that threat will extend to identity theft of a device as well as a person. While we often hear about scary and unpredictable hackers trying to get to our data and money with all types of impressive hacks, we're often also our own greatest enemy. Through careless safekeeping of our internet-connected devices, we are playing into the hands of malicious thieves and opportunistic finders. The financial gain for hackers looking to infiltrate the IoT lies in the data. In a rush to get items to market, companies often leave IoT devices unsecured and easy to access. Hackers can gain access to personal information that can then be used to create fake identities.
22.
Account takeover, aka account compromise, happens when a fraudster gets access to a genuine customer's account. Any online account can be taken over, including e-commerce accounts, subscriptions, banks, credit cards, emails, etc. How is that possible, you may be asking? Well, thieves can get a hold of account numbers in many ways, including online hacking, stealing mail, or finding it in the trash, lifting wallets, and ATM and card reader skimming. Once the thieves obtain the account data, they may use the information right at the point of sale or access individual accounts online, over the phone, or through the postal service.
21.
New account fraud is whereby a hacker uses another person's personal information and good credit rating to open an account and borrow money using fake credentials. Often the first step in identity theft starts by creating a new account online. The hacker then borrows as much as they can. After they've reached their credit limit, they move on to open another account with different credentials. In the end, banks end up losing lots of money to defaulters. The hackers borrow the money knowing that the burden of repayment doesn't fall on them. New account fraud increased 27.8% worldwide in 2019 compared to full year 2018 results, and more than 100% compared to 2014.
20.
Mortgage loan frauds can be initiated by consumers themselves, or unscrupulous lenders, brokers, real estate agents, or someone seeking a favor. Persons looking to purchase a home or homeowners seeking to refinance can be inadvertently caught up in mortgage fraud by acting on bad advice from an unscrupulous mortgage lender or real estate professional they trust. There are really two different types of mortgage fraud. Traditional mortgage frauds involve activities undertaken in an effort to defraud the lender, such as trying to obtain a loan one cannot legitimately qualify for. Other mortgage frauds target consumers, such as foreclosure prevention or loan modification scams, in which unscrupulous individuals try to defraud homeowners who are in financial trouble.
19.
Financing a car is easy. You pick out your brand new car, you walk into the finance manager's office, give your name, address, social security number, and a few other pieces of personal information, and you can walk out of the auto dealership with keys to that car, sometimes with little or no money down. It's fast and it's easy. Car manufacturers like it. It allows them to move products quickly. Car dealers like it too, as it helps them make more money fast. But the ones who really love it are the fraudsters. Apparently, the speed comes at a cost. We know criminals always shift their strategy to keep rolling in the money. So where have they invested their time to keep cars rolling in? It appears they're getting those cars through fraudulent applications and financing. While car thefts have declined, auto finance fraud is making a long, steadily increasing climb upward.
18.
Online lending speed advantage has led to a growing problem, a type of fraud called loan stacking. Back in the day, to get a loan, you'd have to visit a bank branch, you'd have to sit before a loan officer in anxious anticipation of whether you'd make the grade, but those days are long gone. Now, the rise of online lending has led to near instant approval of loans. Applicants can apply and be approved for multiple loans in a matter of days, or even hours. Technology allows for partially automated underwriting. Depositing often occurs within hours of approval. This is great news for consumers. It's even better news for fraudsters, unfortunately.
17.
Identity cloning just may be the scariest variation of all identity theft. Instead of stealing your personal information for financial gain or committing crimes in your name, identity clones actually live and work as you. They may even pay bills as you, get engaged and married as you, start a family as you. To sum things up, identity cloning is the act of an imposter literally assuming your life in a different location.
16.
Synthetic identity theft is a type of fraud in which a criminal combines real and fake information to create a new identity. The real information used in this fraud is usually stolen. This information is used to open fraudulent accounts and make fraudulent purchases. Here's where the crime gets even more interesting. Since synthetic identity theft has no specific consumer victim, it can continue undetected for months until the identity thief uses up the remainder of the credit line, leaving the lender, bank, or financial institution holding the bag.
15.
Criminal identity theft occurs when someone cited or arrested for a crime presents him or herself as another person by using that person's name and identifying information. The result is a criminal record in the name of the victim, who may not learn of the crime until it's too late.
14.
Biometrics are part of cutting-edge technology. To put it simply, biometrics are any metrics related to human features. The most common examples of a biometric recognition system is a smartphone's fingerprint and facial recognition technology. However, often the sensors on devices that unlock using fingerprints are not encrypted. Without this protection, hackers could steal copies of a user's fingerprint from a device, clone it, and gain access to all of the files, emails, and data on the device, and anything else their fingerprint is used to open.
13.
You may know to be on the lookout for identity theft. However, you might not realize that there's a new fraud game in town known as medical identity theft. Essentially, this means that thieves are stealing people's personal information to make claims against their health policies. Then, after filing fraudulent claims, they pocket the cash and in some cases may even get medical services. All the bad guys have to do is get access to some of your personal information, such as your social security number, and the rest is easy.
12.
Tax identity theft occurs when someone uses your compromised information to file a tax return in your name. They fudge the numbers, enter an unrelated refund dispersal option like prepaid debit card, and make off with your money before you ever know that anything has gone wrong. How can you know if someone has filed a return with your stolen information? Again, you may find out in different ways, but one common way is for the IRS to inform you. They don't usually call you up and say, guess what? Someone's stolen your identity. Instead, it's a lot more likely that the IRS will reject your legitimate tax return because someone has already filed using your social security number.
11.
Financial identity theft occurs when someone uses another person's personally identifiable information, or PII, for financial gain. A simple example is someone accessing your bank account by stealing your debit card information and PIN. A more sophisticated version of the crime would be when a fraudster uses your PII to add their name to one of your financial accounts. Experts say that financial identity theft is often committed by someone who knows the victim, possibly a friend or family member. These are folks who may be able to easily put their hands on the necessary information and use it without the victim's knowledge.
10.
We've heard the stories about seniors who fall prey to scams. The 72-year-old who was billed for a pregnancy test, the retiree whose life savings were stolen in seconds, the grandmother who paid $100,000 for lottery winnings that never rolled in. Seniors are vulnerable to identity theft scams because often they're more trusting, have more savings, and home equity built up, and are less likely to closely monitor their credit and financial accounts. Additionally, seniors may not be as technologically savvy as the criminals who attempt to steal their information. My grandma almost fell for one. There was a guy who was claiming to be me arrested in jail in, I believe, Colombia, and she said it sounded like me, so she called me right away. I was actually working. And I'm like, Grandma? And she's like, are you in Colombia? I'm like, no.
Are you in jail?
So, no, good thing she called me. So if you're elderly and you get a call from someone or whatever, just call that person. Just do your due diligence.
9.
If your 3-year-old is getting pre-approved credit card offers in the mail, you both may have a problem. Child identity theft. Child identity theft occurs when someone uses a child's social security number to commit fraud. That might include opening credit accounts, taking out loans, or applying for government benefits or a job. The crime can go undetected for years. Debts may pile up. Victims of child identity theft often discover it when they're older. They might apply for a student loan, for instance, but get rejected due to damaged credit.
8.
Bust-out fraud, also known as sleeper fraud, is primarily a first-party fraud scheme. It begins when a person establishes good credit, either under their own name or by identity theft using stolen social security numbers. The fraudster then behaves well for a period of time, making on-time payments, building credit, and applying for more cards and higher credit limits. After the credit is built, the bust-out takes place. The fraudster maxes out all the credit accounts and ceases making payments. Bust-out fraud is a highly sophisticated, coordinated strategy that involves committing multiple acts of application fraud. Bust-out fraud is, in large part, orchestrated by organized crime rings.
7.
Unlike debit card transactions that come straight out of your bank account, credit cards are a line of credit extended by a company to consumers. These cards will typically issue a monthly bill for any charges rather than deducting the money directly out of your bank account. Stealing someone's credit card or using someone's lost card is one example of credit card fraud. Criminals even steal credit cards from your mailbox. They use these intercepted cards to make unauthorized purchases. If thieves gather enough personal information, they can also create a counterfeit card. Sometimes all it takes is a thief with your card number and expiration date for your money to be in serious danger.
6.
At some places, you can swipe your debit card without a PIN for a transaction under a small amount, or you can make much larger purchases with a signature. While this is much more convenient, it does open some new opportunities for security issues and fraud. Since most of the time these transactions don't require you to give up your card to the cashier, there isn't even a signature match performed. This can lead to pinless debit card fraud, or fraud that uses a debit card to make purchases without the PIN and without your permission.
5.
Debit card fraud occurs when a criminal gains access to your debit card number, and in some cases personal identification number or PIN, to make unauthorized purchases or withdraw cash from your account. There are many different methods of obtaining your information, from unscrupulous employees to hackers gaining access to your data from a retailer's insecure computer or network. When your debit card is used fraudulently, the money goes missing from your account instantly. Payments you've scheduled or checks you've mailed may bounce, and you may not be able to afford necessities.
4.
The typical shopping scam starts with a bogus website or, increasingly, mobile app. Some faux e-stores are invented from whole cloth, but many mimic trusted retailers with familiar logos and slogans and a URL that's easily mistaken for the real thing. They offer popular items at a fraction of the usual cost and promise perks like free shipping and overnight delivery, exploiting the premium online shoppers put on price and speed. Just be careful next time. Nike shouldn't read Nike with a giant K. It's easier in text, you'll get it. I trust you.
Does that mean I don't have to do anything?
Do it.
Damn it.
3.
What exactly can a thief do with your social security number? Well, the answer isn't pretty, especially if they also have access to other personal data. Whether you've had your social security number stolen or are trying to keep it secure, it's important to know what criminals can do with it so you know how to recognize red flags. One of the identity theft related crimes most people think of is credit card fraud. However, credit card fraud is just one of the crimes that can be committed if a criminal assumes your identity with your social security number and other personal information. While stolen credit cards and the like can be canceled and replaced, it can be difficult to obtain a new social security number.
2,
What can happen in terms of identity theft if your driver's license falls into the hands of a would-be identity thief? In many cases, it depends on how much your thief resembles you, if they have any expertise in fake ID production, and how willing they are to falsely represent themselves to law enforcement. They can't open a credit card or mortgage account, but they can write your driver's license number on a check, give your license number, without the actual license, to a police officer at a traffic stop, or doctor/manufacturer a license with your number to pass off to those who require ID, bars, employers, police, etc. Driver's license fraud includes the use of another person's identity, the submission of counterfeit identity documents, and all other activities intended to obtain a driver's license or ID card by a person or for a person who is not eligible for issuance of such a document.
1,
With so many digital ways to attack someone's personally identifiable information, it might seem strange that old-fashioned methods of mail fraud are still prevalent. Nevertheless, scammers target individuals with unlocked mailboxes, steal the mail, and by changing the address, they redirect their mail to a new address. After receiving the victim's mail, the scammer can access sensitive documents that arrive by post and take advantage of credit card offers. Victims of mail theft often do not realize they've been victimized until their credit record and good name is ruined. So, have you ever fallen victim to identity fraud? Share your story with us in the comments below, or tweet your answer to us at List25 or to me personally at Michael B. Estrin. For me, I actually had someone hack into my eBay account somehow and order a $600 blender. Good thing they actually had it shipped to their own address, so I called the police in their county and gave them that information.
How nice was the blender?
Very nice. It was $600. I don't know what a $600 blender can do that others can't, but you know what? Yeah.
How about those playlists?
And if you like this video, check out this playlist here.
Neat.